Hello everyone, and welcome to my Days of Our Lives official. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before we begin, please hit the subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Kayla is visited in her office by Seth Burns, the administrator of the hospital. Citing legal and insurance obligations, he opposes the request to shoot body and soul there. After hearing all of his worries, Kayla decides differently. But Seth is subject to one condition. Chanel and Alex tell Johnny at the body and soul office that Kate is even more determined to film their love scene right now after their request to postpone it. Alex continues babbling about how painful it must be for Johnny to see him physically abuse his wife. He even goes so far as to propose hiring a separate director for those sequences. Johnny seethes, believing he's entirely capable of doing it. At the pub, which is set up for BNS filming, Leo tries to soothe Bonnie, who's unhappy over being written off the program. We all know that Hattie is to blame, Bonnie. As far as Hattie is concerned, it was an obvious choice to make her happy over Bonnie. Leo cautiously responds, not exactly. Bonnie says her agent husband won't allow them get away with this and rushes out. Everything is going well for Hattie, she tells a quiet Leo. Kate and Abe tensely face each other in the square. As Abe and Kate examine BNS turmoil in the square, they agree that after Hattie made her ultimatum, a decision had to be taken. Kate just hopes it was the correct one. Later, Abe phones Johnny with news of location and script revisions. He advises him to get to the hospital. Leo joins Abe in the square to tell him how terribly everything went with Bonnie. Abe states that one of them had to depart. Now, they just have to get through those scenes. Stephanie meets Jada in the police station while she works in the interrogation room. Stephanie praises her for phoning to let her know that Everett was innocent. Jada feels sad she was alone when she heard. Stephanie tells her Alex was there. Jada's eyes light up, but Stephanie insists they're only friends. You sure about that? Jada says. Bonnie returns to the pub as she emotionally talks with Justin on the phone. She knows he would have made it happen if he could. Appearing empathetic, Hattie approaches. Bonnie was really looking forward to working with her. They were meant to be a team, like when they replaced Marlena and Adrian. Except this time, no one was going to get wounded. But it was the opposite of what she pictured. There was no fun, no laughing, and someone did get harmed, pretty bad. Bonnie again storms out. Kate visits Kayla in her office and finds her BNS plan was accepted, with a condition. Wearing a white doctor's coat, Seth joins them. He informs Kate he is portraying Dr. Blake Lamourie, the chief of staff at the fictional Pineview Hospital. Resigned, Kate leaves to fire the actor originally recruited to portray the part. In Kayla's office, Seth stands between her and Kate. He wears a doctor's lab coat and a stethoscope around his neck. After Abe fails to clarify his viewpoint concerning Bonnie to Justin on the phone, he sits with Leo in the square. Leo looks up from his laptop, having finished his new pages for Bonnie's character. Leo exits as Hattie arrives. She tells Abe she didn't anticipate Bonnie's leave to be so definitive. She shivers over the manner she's being written out. Johnny comes to the hospital set, where Bonnie sits in a hospital bed. He wonders why she's been done up to look near death. Since he hasn't seen the new pages yet, she reveals she's being killed off. She was really proud to be part of the show. Why are they doing this to me? She wails and pulls him into a hug. At BNS, Chanel and Alex admit they are starting to like each other as friends again. He'd like to get back to where they used to be and amicably coexist at work. She realizes what happened with Allie wasn't his fault and advises they attempt to see the best in each other. Alex is all for it. He gets a text from Leo, who summons him to the hospital. Chanel's eyes pensively dart as he exits. She subsequently peeks at her character's love scene, which she knows Johnny will despise. In the questioning chamber, Stephanie admits to Jada that she kissed Alex when she retrieved Everett's ashes. However, he put a stop to it because he's still getting over Teresa, and she's getting over Everett, and he doesn't want to break their friendship again. Stephanie doesn't either, but she says she's been having ideas about him. But Alex isn't in the same place. Maybe she should take a vacation from relationships in general. On the hospital set, Seth stiffly performs in character as he brings Hattie's Charlemagne to see Bonnie's Cassandra. Cassandra reveals she caught an incurable sickness in Tangier. Hattie feels tearful as Charlemagne tells Cassandra how much she'll miss her. In a hospital bed, a teary-eyed Bonnie takes a pink flower from Alex. When Johnny gets the last few pages from Leo, he informs a startled Hattie she's done for the day. Hattie wishes Bonnie well, even if Bonnie hates her guts at the time. "You got that right," Bonnie bluntly states. After Hattie leaves, Seth takes issue with the screenplay as his medical character verifies to Cassandra she's dying. Alex jumps in as Arrow. He tells his mother, Cassandra, that he discovered a unique flower that will save her life. Bonnie breaks character to exclaim, "Does this mean I'm not getting killed off after all?" Johnny grins and shrugs. Hattie approaches Abe and Leo at the hospital coffee station. She realizes Bonnie's Cassandra isn't the one getting killed off. "You are." Next on Days of Our Lives, Fiona calls Sarah out on her falsehoods, and Brady begs Kristen not to help him, but there were two folks we knew would likely leave us in tears when they revealed their love and grief, Stephen Nichols, Steve, and Deidre Hall, Marlena. Those two, more than any others, were inexorably linked to Hodgson and John both on stage and off. And it would take time, we realized, to find the words to say farewell. Steve and John have been together from day one. Nichols uploaded a really touching video on his Instagram, you can check it out below, of him and Hodgson looking back and smiling at images from John's first day on Days of Our Lives with Patch, the two in all their 80s hair glory. And just this past year, the show changed their history once more to make it apparent that their bond goes even further back in time than we understood. But even Steve hiding his and the pawn's dirty acts from John for decades couldn't ruin their relationship. They had each other's back, always, and that never wavered. Black Patch wasn't going anywhere. At least, that's what we always imagined. And then the news of Hodgson's death hit. Along with their film, Nichols gave a loving, devastating homage to his lifelong friend. And it's no wonder he had so much to say, he wanted to more room in the comments. "My dear friend, Drake Hodgson, has passed," Nichols continued. "This loss is overwhelming. Drake was a men's man with a great heart. He was courteous, respectful, and honest. I never heard him express a nasty word about anyone. He was on a very limited list of remarkable persons I have known in my lifetime. He was a mentor without knowing it. I learned so much from Drake by his example. Humility, endurance, forgiveness. We had extensive chats in his dressing room after working on our scenes. He spoke so fondly about his wonderful family who he valued beyond all else. And the two spoke about so much more in life, in history, in their successes and heartbreak. Drake would tell me about his history," Nichols said, "playing baseball, coming to Hollywood, getting into acting. He also revealed accomplishments and a few heartaches having to do with his long career on Days with such honesty. I felt blessed to be a sounding board, to have his trust. And he had mine. I could tell him anything, and lately when I was going through a tough period when I lost my sister to cancer, he was there for me and he listened and asked how I was doing daily." Steve sees John in the hospital on Days of Our Lives. And the storytelling, that's something we've heard from everyone, and Steve's portrayer hit it home, Drake was a storyteller. Ask everyone around the studio. He could spin a yarn, and he remembered his adventures in such detail and always throwing in baseball metaphors whenever he could. Drake cherished his time as a ball player. And on our Days softball team he was, of course, our standout player. Their working connection began almost 40 years ago in 1986 with John's debut appearance. Drake said, "No one hit the stage with more commitment and enthusiasm than Drake. He encouraged and energized me and everyone around him. He loved coming to work and arrived up early to train in the small hours of the morning. I'll miss hearing the whirring of his stationary bike and the clanging of dumbbells. We were dressing room neighbors." Sadly, as we now know, John's final moments on Days of Our Lives were aired earlier in the month, and Hodgson wasn't on set in his final months. And the loss was palpable. Just being in Drake's presence was enough to get a jolt of positivity, Nichols concluded. He was one of those special souls who exuded joy and love for life. The Days of Our Lives cast, crew, and fans, who he was always so courteous to, have suffered a big loss. It has been evident how much Drake was loved and has been missed during these months without him at the studio.